Welcome back to Hannity. There are chilling revelations regarding the Obama Justice Department's efforts to target Fox News chief Washington correspondent James Rosen. We're now learning that the DOJ invoked the Espionage Act, one of the most serious wartime laws in America, to justify its investigation into Rosen. Remember, this is the same law used by the Nixon administration to go after the leakers of the Pentagon Papers, and the law used to charge the Rosenbergs for passing secret information to the Soviet Union during the Cold War. This all comes after Rosen was accused in an affidavit of being a possible criminal, quote, co-conspirator for his role in publishing sensitive security information. Here with reaction, radio talk show host and Fox News contributor Monica Crowley and Democratic strategist Mr. Bernard Whitman. Monica, let me start with you right away. The Espionage Act, normally a little bit more used for things other than a guy just trying to do his job.
The Espionage Act has been invoked 3 times since the Pentagon Papers 1971, which you mentioned, Eric. 3 times since then. The Obama administration has invoked it 6 times and counting. It is supposed to be leveled at leaks that cause, quote, grave injury to the United States. That is yet to be proved here. What we found out earlier today is that the Attorney General Eric Holder actually personally signed off on and authorized the very controversial search warrant that went after James Rosen, his personal emails, personal phone records, and his parents' phone records as well. So there's really some investigation to be had here. Holder says he's going to investigate himself. That is an absurd joke.
Bernard, it's unbelievable. This DOJ, the overreach, the lengths that they're willing to go to perpetrate whatever they have, whatever their agenda is.
Okay, let's keep it real, Eric. The target of the investigation was not Rosen, it was Stephen Kim. Why? Because he was accused of leaking classified information, which, by the way, is illegal and could jeopardize sources on the ground inside of a rogue country in which we have very few eyes and ears that happens to have nuclear capability.
Hang on a second. I remember this. A few months ago, the New York Times put it right on their front cover. They had a leaked story about President Obama having a kill list. That's a leak. Did they invoke the Espionage Act against whoever leaked that information and the New York Times reporter who published it?
I think that the threat posed by North Korea is substantially greater than the fact that President Obama has a kill list. Look, I think that is not particularly a great surprise, but the fact of nuclear Korea, a rogue state, having nuclear capability, and there's a guy working the State Department who wants to disclose that through Rosen, who overzealously went after Kim to try to get a leg up on his media competition. That's exactly what happened.
There are a couple of different issues here. First of all, with regard to national security leaks, those are serious. And regardless of the administration, you should have the right to go and pursue the leaker in the administration leaking top secret or classified information. That's one thing. What this administration has done is flipped it around. Not just gone after the leaker, but gone after the journalists who are just gathering information for the public's right to know. That is something that is relatively unprecedented, and the extent to which the Holder Justice Department, Eric, has gone after James Rosen, Fox News, the Associated Press, it is so far beyond the scope of just going after the leaker, or even in the case of a journalist, widespread wiretapping, widespread phone records. It's intrusive and beyond belief.
But take a look. We'll put up the full screen there. Here's some of the phone lines that allegedly were on the list that they were looking for. Fox Business Network, Fox News Washington Bureau, which were, okay, so they want to see what Rosen's up to. They can do that. Rosen's cell phone, Rosen's parents' house, the White House, the State Department. Potentially, this is an overreach. They want to see what's going on.
They weren't going over Rosen at all. They weren't going after him at all. He got caught up in an investigation over someone that was leaking classified information. And frankly, Rosen, unfortunately, ended up being a patsy in all of this because he was the vehicle through which Kim was going to disclose this information to the public. Monica, you talk about the public's right to know. The public does not have a right to know classified information which could jeopardize national security and put informants that are on the ground in North Korea at risk.
I agree with you. You go after the leaker, which is what the administration's done. But they took it a couple of steps too far by going after the journalists. I remember during the Bush years, state secrets were being splashed across the front pages of the New York Times, the Washington Post on counterterrorism, interrogation, rendition, black sites. One episode in particular, the President of the United States, the Commander-in-Chief, George W. Bush, actually picked up the phone himself and called the New York Times, begged them not to release a specific story that would gravely endanger the United States. And you know what happened? The New York Times published it anyway. You go after the leaker. Did the Bush administration go after the New York Times or the journalists for publishing those articles? Absolutely not.
But the reason why they went after Rosen is they had to build a case to get a judge to authorize following and getting his phone records and so forth. So they needed that information in order to build the case.
To build a case against Rosen, or to build a case against the leaker?
They needed evidence to build the case against Kim.
They already knew who the leaker was, and they had plenty of information.
They did not have enough information that would be persuasive to a jury. They needed to gather more information.
Is there any limit to what the Justice Department can do to, quote, build a case?
We got to leave it there.
But how different is this from the
Let's leave
Patriot
it on that. Is there any limit? You have to ask yourself. You have to scratch your head when you see the lengths that they're willing to go.